this sky, using that Suri Strike, which doesn't do as much damage as we would see. But he's using it to appropriately position himself in his fights. He's able to the red mist is able to put out by getting that distance.
Immense gold payout
chase,
collected.
he's able to use it to re-engage, and because you can target where it takes you, you can re-engage without putting yourself right underneath.
It looks like as well Mivotic used his fountain in the first fight, whereas Gabriel saved his for the second. So being able to keep that fountain up, keep that cooldown available for you, just allows C9 to be so aggressive in this jungle as well. Extended the gold lead by another 1,000 in the last minute. Cloud9. This is the Cloud9 we saw at Unified. This is the Cloud9 we see when they get to meet up face to face with their opponents. They are just unstoppable at LAN.
Yeah, it seems like they just get kind of like a natural team buff just when they're together. You know, they're all good friends, but it's not quite the same when you're talking over, you know, a voice act line. You know, just like me and you hanging out here right now, Medic, having a good time. We're here, building up the hype, getting ready, and that's the same kind of feeling Cloud9 get. You see them come together in person. They just have the biggest smiles on their face. They're ready, and it shows. You know, during the regular season, you know, we do see them struggle up against teams like TSM, against Tribe. Now they still do quite well throughout the season, but when it comes to live, they really just explode. Two-time unified champions.
It's so impressive, and the fact the team only formed really as a three-man roster at the start of this year. In January, they switched out 2 of their members, brought in 2 new guys, and since then it's been a ride to the top. Not even a roller coaster, just a straight line all the way to the top of the Vainglory world. And now look at the poke coming out from his own points. Broken Myth and the aftershock finish on Joseph. Got another infusion for himself. That level 9 infusion just ticking over the damage onto paiN. Even with the Imperial just cannot heal up. The Gauntlet comes down once again. The blocker diving underneath the turret for C9. Gonna take it down. Gabe Bizzle's low, so Joseph, but paiN just can't continue to put the damage down in this fight. And C9 are unrelenting with their pressure. Once again, force paiN away, take a turret for themselves, and exit the fray down towards the jungle of paiN.
It's 5,000 is starting to come in right now. We have old school. Sorrowblade. Looking over at Buster, he has just now finished that breaking point, the second item. And old school has just now finished his third, which is also that breaking point. Last fight, yes, we didn't see Cloud9 pick up the kills underneath that turret, but because they know that they're two heroes, they down just to kind of lock in a position where they were unable to push Cloud9 back. They were unable to contest the damage that Cloud9 was able to take that turret down with, because the minion wave came at just the same time. That's just the kind of planning that Cloud9 does. Gabe Bizzle, you know, just executing the plays perfectly.
It's the degree of synergy that Cloud9 have as well. You can tell that they have consistently played at the highest level. You can tell that they are unified champions. You can tell that they know exactly what each member's going to do and exactly when they're going to do it. Even here, they start off the gold mine, they realize paiN pushes the turret, they're not going to give that up. Gabe Bizzle does go low, doesn't have a corner up, but the death block's going to come down. Buster forced down towards the bottom of the fight. Just Feather now isolated as Cloud9 dive onto the backline. It's all onto Joseph, the arcane pass, dodging Feather around. The Mortal Wound's going to land onto Buster now, and he needs to get away with that passage as well. Manages to escape at the time being, and Gabe Bizzle goes a little bit too deep, but Old School is on the chase. He takes the man, and now Buster is trying to chase down onto Gabe Bizzle, but the Gauntlet is back up, and you just can't do anything against Cloud9 because they will run you round in circles. Another ace for Cloud9. No member dies once again, and Cloud9 look unstoppable.
7 and 0 for Cloud9. Gabe Bizzle, perfect execution in that last fight. He dropped so throughout that whole fight until he dropped just a sliver. And because he did that, it gave him to the back line to do a little bit of damage himself. The fountain wasn't just used for Gabe Bizzle's health. He got the extra benefit.
And you look at how long they delayed the fight as well. At the start of it, I said there's still 14 seconds left on the Gauntlet, and then at the end of it, he's able to use it to help him win out the fray. So Cloud9 just look absolutely incredible at the moment. Yet to die as well. They take a turret really at the 12-minute mark, they're taking that choke point turret, and they're willing to step forward like this. This is what Old School does so well. He just dances around the side of the fight. He's got the fancy feet. He's got his ballet shoes on, and he is not giving paiN an inch. Another one goes down. He plies into the backline. They will get the kill as well onto Semester. The first kill goes down for paiN. They're not going to leave empty-handed, but Old School wants to make sure they leave pretty darn dead. That's another ace. C9 clean it up. But you have to feel sorry for Gabe Bizzle because his team is going to call him a feeder after this game.
Definitely, you know, but they're having a great game, and to give up only one kill and it be on the captain, that's really still a win all around for Cloud9, and it's so early when you talk about there's no they're trying to extend their lead. They're almost 10,000 point, and Old School has really been untouched in a lot of these fights. His ability to just kite and stay away from this Rona, although you can't kite directly back, he can use that movement speed to try to kite circles around, and we see Rona struggling to find the damage that she needs to. They do get Gabe Bizzle in that last fight, but it's just allowed too much time for Old School to get
Monster Bear trying to put the red mist down, but C9 are unrelenting in this pressure. paiN going to be for the time being. Old School jumps forward. C9 won't get what they want out of that one. Cloud9 unable to find exactly the fight they want. You have to feel they're just waiting 15, 20 seconds now. They set up around the Kraken and they can secure that pretty easily for themselves.
Yeah, we're just forced to fight at this point. You know, we're getting to the point that the death timers are starting to get longer. So even with all three members of paiN Gaming Live, just because of how convincingly Cloud9 has won these last couple fights, if the side of paiN does try to contest the Kraken, Cloud9 can turn their attention directly onto them and win a fight and close out the game off the base.
Wait and see, because Cloud9 are going to start off the Kraken. We're also trying to poke his head in, see what's going on. Dropping in once again from the Rona, so Monster trying to get in the back line. Then the Rock does come down, misses towards the side. There is the red mist as well. Slow onto Old School, dodges through the arcane passage that was left by paiN, helping out the enemy team as Cloud9 get the first kill, looking for a little bit more as they chase onto Neurotic. The jump into the fray, but Old School still just dodging and ducking and weaving his way around. Gabe Bizzle there with the VM back at the end, but C9 might even be able to close the game out from here. 18 seconds on Justino Ferrer, but can he stand in the way of C9?
That was such excellent execution there. Like I had mentioned, if paiN tries to stop it, actually put up a fight. Justino Ferrer, he is only seeing up doesn't really come online until that third item. That's where he has that early game spike when he locks that Malice Verdict and Dark combination, and kind of hits it early on, but in the middle of the game, he's kind of at a lullaby point. You know, he has to play perfectly to have impact, and unfortunately they haven't been able to execute well enough.
And I think perhaps we're starting to see a bit of a difference between the North American and the South American metas as well. You know, NA here have really been able to snowball from a small early advantage. It was really just getting those two Elden 3 ends without too much complication that got them about 1,000 gold lead. paiN relying more on these big team fights, but because they were behind, weren't able to take the fight. And we can see exactly what happens here when you're behind against a team fighting team. You just lose your roam. The Kraken's still kicking in, looking for that first crystal turret. Looks like they're going to get a bit of damage in from Muster, but he's already gone down, and C9 just have one man standing between them and their first win of Worlds 2017. Justino Ferrer gets back to Sanctuary, but there's no help for the Wicked as C9 died him. Another kill for C9, 16 kills for 2. They'll take down the crystal turrets, they'll push him with the Kraken, and this will be the first game of Worlds 2017 going over to Cloud9.
Cloud9 with objectives appropriately as a team. They made excellent rotations, and as we mentioned very early on in the game, excellent use of the move to really keep the edge at every opportunity.
Good thing as well for Gabe Bizzle, he wasn't the only member of the team that died, so you can't really, you know, joke about him being the only guy to die on that team. Great play though, all round from Cloud9, you have to say. I feel a little bit like paiN Gaming will have got a bit shell-shocked coming into that game. You know, an early lead for Cloud9 really snowballed away from them. But I think they're going to have something a little bit spicier for us in Game 2.
Yeah, they definitely are going to need to adapt. It is the flexibility of Cloud9 because they're all just really comfortable playing really whatever you give them. I mean, this is the team that we saw pull out the weapon pedal when everybody
Welcome
was like,
to Vainglory.
Is this a joke? Is this a real thing? And then it was incredibly powerful. They experiment with a lot of things, and they usually find what works.
They do. And I think now is their time to experiment as well. They've got a good, solid first win. If they want to mess around a little bit in this second game, perhaps they can try out a couple more things. It is only best of 2, though. So if they end up losing the game because they've experimented a little bit too much, you're losing your chance at that #1 seed to a degree.
Well, I'm betting their experimentation has been in the weeks coming.
Yes, you would hope so. You would hope so.
I definitely hope so. I mean, I could see them pulling out something crazy different. This, this update. There's definitely, we were talking about it earlier, maybe a lane or a jump before live. We'll see. I definitely think it's well within the capabilities of Cloud9, and we'll have to see what side of paiN Gaming can come up with to answer that. If they're able to find a way that they can keep Cloud9 on their toes, the way that Cloud9 did to paiN the first game, and really just kind of kept the pressure up at every opportunity.
I'm wondering if Cloud9 actually really need to experiment that much. I was the one who brought it up, but I think it's paiN that actually needs to experiment a little bit more, because your strategy in game 1 just didn't work at all. You weren't able to find the team fights, you weren't able to get the poke with the Samuel, you got a little bit of damage on that first turret, but you never really took it down. Are they the guys that need to say, okay, look, we played a few games domestically where we played, I don't know, CP Arden, Weapon Power Arden, just bring it out to try and surprise Cloud9 to an degree.
It's definitely an interesting scenario because I think they did play the games very well. They did make the rotations up with Samuel. Unfortunately, I think they put themselves in a position, and I touched on this very often with Samuel players. There's times where you definitely cannot get the kill, right? Like your Drifting Dark has now ended. You need to kind of focus the turret a little bit more. When we saw them make the rotations up, it was always Samuel going just a little bit too far, taking a couple turret shots, trying to get damage on Old School, who is well in his safety behind the turret, instead of using that window of opportunity where the barrier on the turret is down. They could have gotten quite a bit of chunk damage down on that turret every single time he rotated up, and they just committed a little too hard trying to find a kill that was a bit out of reach.
Maybe just being a little bit overeager as well. It's the first game of Worlds, you're playing up against the 2-time unified champions, playing up against a team that consistently looked incredible this year. You want to make your mark. You want to be like, yeah, I killed Davis. Yeah, I killed Joseph. We were the ones to get first blood. Didn't quite work out for them, but I'm sure paiN Gaming will bounce back very well in this second game.
Yeah,
do you think we saw anything in that game that really changed your view on the meta? Do you think we saw anything that surprised you to any degree, or was it kind of typically what we'd expect from Cloud9 and what we'd expect from paiN?
I think between 2.9 and 2.10, somewhere towards the end of 2.9 specifically, we saw a little bit more rise in the Weapon Power Sky. It's definitely something that Old School has history of playing in the past. And it's kind of at that point that it really works well again into how the meta shifted at the beginning of 2.9. We talked about it early on in the draft, the Rona that counters the Blackfeather. But because of the flexibility of that Blackfeather pick, they were able to lock in that Sky last, and the Sky is just so difficult for Rona to stick on, and because of the Blackfeather's ability to build a lot of defense, get the barrier from his on point, as well as the movement speed to re-engage out of his Faint of Heart, he just has to live in that front line and allow Sky to be the one to ramp up that damage. That breaking point ramps up so quickly with that Weapon Power Sky.
I feel as well, because paiN Gaming fell behind early on, they were never able to be aggressive with the Lyra. You weren't arcane passaging towards the Sky, and as soon as Sky gets to a position where she wants in a fight, that's when she's in the perfect position for a fray. Churnwalker and Arden are our first 2 bans. Churnwalker banned first on blue side every game at Worlds thus far. 100% ban rate first pick on blue, but the Vox is going to slip through, and Cloud9 will secure that for their own.
And most of us that are used to watching Cloud9 know what a strong pick this can be for Old School. Something that he's really played since Vox's release into the game, and been able to do very well on. Now, paiN Gaming, they ban away that Arden. We talked about how strong Arden is just in the entity of himself early on in the draft last game. I think this is more of a direct answer to how well Gabe Vizzle played that Arden. Not only is it a very strong pick right now, it is also a pick that Gabe Vizzle has a lot of time in the past spent on as well. The gauntlets, we can quote him once of saying he just kind of wings it and goes for gauntlets, but definitely plans those ones out quite well. Quite often able to land those stuns that have really been so beneficial to the team. And now paiN Gaming going to pick up that Black Feather very early on here, and they're kind of left in a rough spot. Do you ban away the Rona, or do you use the flexibility of the Black Feather to your advantage and possibly bait out that Rona, similar to what Cloud9 did game 1?
You've got Rona, you've got Krull that was banned out in game 1 as well, that is still on the cards. We are going to see a different Roma from one of these two picks, because we've only got Liva left out of the 3. The Fortress ban is interesting here for paiN Gaming as well, taking that away from Cloud9.
The Fortress is something that I Love Joseph does run in the jungle and has had quite a bit of success on. But it's an interesting ban, unless if it's specifically targeted at that. It does work very well with the Vox, so I do like that ban. I'm kind of curious if it's something that South America doesn't like playing against the Fortress, or if they've done their research.
Yeah. I trust paiN Gaming to have done their research here. They will know Cloud9 in and out.
This is a huge event. You have to think that paiN Gaming has put the time in and really thought about that pick. They used a lot of bonus time to do it, but they get the Lyra for themselves, and with that Fortress ban now, that's an additional mortal wound the team could have had, which now this Lyra is that much stronger of a pick.
And if you go for the weapon Black Feather as well, he gets a lot of healing if he goes down that Serpent's Mask route. So we'll have to see how paiN Gaming decide to flex that Black Feather. Cloud9, still a lot of options left for them. That Krull was banned out in game 1, is still on the cards, but perhaps not the best pick in this composition.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll have to see. It is something that Joseph is very comfortable playing. We've seen him do it time and time again, actually, throughout the previous season. But the captain is still on the board as well, and we kind of talked about the Lorelei a little bit earlier. I do think she's a very strong pick right now, and it'd be interesting to see Gabe Vizzle pull it out and see what the real limits of that hero are, and how much of an effect that
I don't know. I think we saw the epitome of Lorelei play in my ranked games yesterday. My worthy foe ranked here in SEA is truly the pinnacle of Lorelei brilliance. But yeah, I'm sure Gabe Vizzle could teach me a thing or two about how to highlight that hero.
When you think about the way Lorelei's mechanics work, it's very, very high skill cap. So where better to see it than between paiN Gaming and Cloud9? Start off Worlds here in this first series. Obviously, it's best of 2. But a Petal coming out with the Vox already picked. I have to imagine this is probably going to be a jungle Crystal Power Petal, but I wouldn't put it past Cloud9 in their flexibility that if it really came down to it, they can probably pull it off with a lane Petal and a Vox in the jungle.
Well, we have seen a lot of regions, especially the East Asian regions, running double CP, so double weapon power isn't too far removed. It's still just picking that same carry. The Catherine comes out a stalwart of the roam role across the last 2 years. Actually saw a lot of Catherine teamed up with that Koshka last year in Worlds, so not surprised at all to see her secured by Cloud9. Only 23 extra seconds here for paiN Gaming alongside the 10 they have, so they have to make a relatively quick decision to answer this Petal and Catherine from Cloud9.
Yeah, the Petal pick does make it, assuming it is Crystal Petal, the most common thing that we're going to see here. It does make it pretty difficult for a weapon power Black Feather, and I kind of feel like that's what paiN Gaming is struggling with right now. Is they probably know they need to run this as a Crystal Power Black Feather, and they're trying to decide what they want to put in the lane up against the Vox, but instead they are going to go with an Alpha. So now this is an interesting call because Petal accelerates so heavily into melee power heroes up against a weapon power Black Feather who needs to stay in a fight for a long duration. That could be painful.
That it could indeed, and I think one of the major worries as well is for paiN. We saw how quickly Cloud9 accelerated game 1. If you fall behind against the Petal, as you say, it's even more rapid that acceleration will go away from you. It's 0 to 60 in like 10 seconds. Well, that's actually very slow.
That is very slow.
That
is, yeah. You're losing races like
Tell
that.
I'm not really a mechanic or what would you call yourself? Like a jarhead? No, that's military, isn't it? Car guy. Car guy. That's probably the simplest way of putting it. I'm not a car guy, but you know what I am? You know what I am, Denome? I'm a VG guy. I'm looking forward to another great game here between Cloud9 and paiN.
Definitely a better game to have you in here. Thanks. Nice having you here. Definitely
nice having you here too. It's nice being here. Being able to talk about Vainglory, being able to watch some of the best Vainglory in the world,
and being able to explore Singapore.
Indeed.
That has been awesome.
Gardens by the Bay was beautiful. Singapore is an incredible place to be, but The one place more incredible than it is the Halcyon Fold, and we are there once again. Cloud9 taking on paiN Gaming in this best of 2. They are 1-0 up, looking to secure the first 2-0 of Worlds 2017.
They definitely are, and we see I Love Joseph with those 2 crystal bits, so I think we knew it was going to be the crystal power pedal.
I'm going alternating current into full weapon power. That's definitely the build, right?
I doubt it, but maybe. I mean, maybe you know something I don't know.
No, I doubt that sincerely. But C9 once again going for the Treant early on, trying to get that little bit of extra gold, and paiN Gaming don't really seem to be able to contest this. The sigil does go down, but Mirotic shouldn't be able to steal that away.
No, it was excellent play coming out of Cloud9 there. They saw the Imperial. They held the Treant at a high enough health that there was no possible way that Lyra could have stole the last hit. Imperial Sigil pops, they take the last hit for themselves, return to their jungle, swing that ambient gold again, as we saw them do in the first round as well. And Davis will just come up and try to secure any last hits that would have been missed minions just to get gold. And
again. You have to work out how you're going to answer this. The stun's going to land onto Mirotic as Joseph puts a lot of damage down the healing class. Just about keeps Mirotic alive. Jaswino Farah coming in from the bottom side, but not much damage on the C9 members yet as they chase Jaswino Farah down towards the bottom side. Does have that infinite reboot heroic perk still available, but don't really want to have that procced before you're ready to go in at level 6.
Yeah, one of the really unfortunate things for paiN Gaming here, besides the fact that they just lost Triad, is that their composition at no point really has a clear-cut way of dealing with Petal, right? Like, they're in a draft situation where Petal at all points of the game is a good counter to both the Black Feather and the Alpha. So really what they need to do is they need to look for any window of opportunity that Cloud9 leaves open, right? Cloud9 maybe stepping a little too far ahead of themselves. They need to look for mistakes at this point. And if they're able to, get far enough into their builds, then they definitely can have a huge threat if Cloud9 do overstep. That Black Feather, we know the damage of Black Feather can put out, especially with that execute damage. Or the termination protocol out of Jasmine Farah can really change the fight.
It's just about whether you expect Cloud9 to make a mistake, isn't it? Like, the playing around the strategy where you say, at Worlds, this team is going to make a mistake and we can capitalize on it is always dangerous, especially when it's someone like Cloud9, who is a 2-time unified champion and have shown us consistently they make very few mistakes. Poison Shiv on Old School now, he's trying to reduce that healing. coming out from the Lima and from the Surface Mask that Monster has picked up. Justino is going to take a lot of damage from the spontaneous combustion. We'll be able to walk away and healed up by the Sigil, but not as much as he would like to be, I am sure. Damage coming in towards the back line to dive underneath the turret. Here comes the re-engage onto Joseph, who's a little bit low on energy. Gabe Bizzle goes down to about 200 HP as well. But will be able to survive for the time being. Justino Ferrer down towards the bottom side. Fountain has been used by paiN. No Fountain by C9 yet. Here comes the Termination Protocol trying to get out. Gabe Bizzle, but he puts up the Storm Guard to keep himself alive. The wounds coming out onto Justino Ferrer, trying to escape back towards the turret. Manages to get away for the time being. Healed up once again by the Sigil. Still, Fountain available for Gabe Bizzle if he needs it.
Yeah, and it's such great discipline on Gabe Bizzle, right? Like, they were dropping fairly low in those fights, but he knows that his team can get out safely. That's really the key thing that he, we didn't make note here of saving that Fountain, because now Muradic, that was a very long, drawn-out fight. His Fountain is going to be up very soon, but because Cloud9 rotated down through paiN's jungle, if paiN would have tried to engage, then Gabe Bizzle would have had that Fountain ready to go. They would have been able to turn the tides very quickly, maybe find a turret off of the back of a ace in that situation. So just great discipline coming out of Cloud9. As you can see, that Fountain was never used. Old School of Joseph, both full health and now returning to their appropriate positions. Level 6, have that silence coming out of this.
The experience that comes from having played so many games on an international and competitive stage. Joseph going in there with the spontaneous combustion onto Muster. He'll be able to keep himself alive for the time being. It was about 7 minutes in game 1 that we saw first blood, and both teams are ready for a fight. Shadowglass finished onto Joseph. He has finished that first tier 3. And a big spike in damage for the Petal.
Doing a great job dancing. Oh my goodness!
Here comes the fight. They're going in with the most offensive. The damage onto Gabe Bizzle is huge. Justino Ferrer pops the Termination Protocol. Is he going to dive underneath the turret for this? There's no Fountain available on Mirotic. Gabe Bizzle's used his as well. They're going in deep, but the stun's going to land on towards the Black Feather. He's the first to fall, and we said it was going to happen at 7 minutes. Well, it might be an ace if C9 can continue to chase this one down. Justino Ferrer trying to get away from the Munions, but they are doing a lot of work for Joseph. The Treant is his escape with that Prime Directive. Eventually, Mirotic will fall down towards the bottom side, unless he can somehow get away as well. Joseph says, not today, my friend. Mirotic goes down. 2 kills to Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 again. Gabe Bizzle holding the Fountain until it's absolutely necessary. And once they had got low, they baited paiN Gaming a little bit underneath that turret. That Fountain kicked in. Old School and Joseph immediately turned things around. Again, they were able to chase down 2. Great escape coming out of Alpha, though, right? Like, that Prime Directive to the jungle minion there, it did go over to I Love Joseph because he was escaping, but he didn't lose his life.
Yeah, I think you trade that if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. You give up that farm, just don't give up the ace, because if you would have given up an ace at that point, it would have been Cloud9 rotating directly into the lane, taking down that perspective, and it makes it very difficult. And here's maybe that mistake up
A little bit overextended him. That's just going to try and get onto Joseph. He's already gone down. The Fountain comes out a little bit too late. Wounds onto Justino Ferrer, who does have the Termination Protocol, but he doesn't really have the damage from it. He's going to get chased down as well, and Cloud9 going to clean up 2 kills once again. A 3,000 gold lead extended in the last minute and a half for Cloud9.
Yeah, and it was kind of looking like an opportunity for paiN. It was Joseph who was caught out very far forward, but because of the advantage Cloud9 had built early on, and now taking a turret as well, we have to look at the builds. Again, it's Old School coming out ahead. He has that second tier 3 complete, as well as he has a level 8 infusion, and when we look over at Muster, he's sitting on a Serpent's Mask, which does give him some sustain in the fights, but it's not really raw damage. He doesn't have that breaking point that he's able to ramp up. They weren't able to find the kill. The combination of the Fountain and the healing flask out of Joseph at the same time, that barrier, all that massive healing, he was able to trampoline around the fight. And they take 2 kills. And they take a turret, and they take a gold fight.
And they take a 4,000 gold lead as well. They'll be pretty happy with that. We said in picks and bans, if Joseph gets ahead on this Petal, it's going to be very difficult to stop him. And it looks exactly like that's going to be the case here. Your items behind, your build is behind, your gold is behind, and really, paiN Gaming now looking to try and find some light at the end of this tunnel, but it's not looking very bright for them.
It's definitely not, and that kind of falls back again to the draft. The Petal, at all points in the game, does have a very easy time dealing with both Alpha and with Black Feather. So again, it's for paiN Gaming, they have an opportunity they can come back. I'm absolutely not counting them out, but they need to play it perfectly. They need to find a fight where Joseph's a little far forward. They need to catch up with the petals, so it might be a little later in the game that we see it happen. But if Neurotic is able to get a good arcane passage followed by a bright bullet onto Joseph a little far forward, then there's a clear opportunity where the trampoline can't be used because of the bright bulwark, and that Black Feather, once he starts ramping up damage, can really do a lot of work on such a squishy target who has built 2 shatter glasses here on this pedal.
He's got a light armor though, right? So that's enough defense. That's fine. No, I totally agree with you. It's very, very squishy pedal. We'll have to try and dodge around the fight, but Joseph has shown us how good his positioning can be in these fights. Gabe Bizzle there as the front line with the blast tremor, with the fountain as well. He's got a clockwork, and it looks like he's going towards an echo as well after that.
Yeah, and that clockwork is really going to allow him to get multiple stuns down. The energy changes, he's never going to run out at this point. You know, that's something that Catherine actually struggles with quite often, is the ability to keep up energy between fights. That's not going to be even a remote issue, as well as the stuns, the silences, they're going to be up all that more frequently. And it makes Catherine very, very difficult to deal with, especially if she's able to silence your whole team. So Neurotic does have the crucible, and if he's able to block that, then that's great. You know, that's a must if they want to find that, you know, that fight that they so desperately need. If Gabe lands that silence, guaranteed cover.
And you're only about 800 gold away from getting the echoes. Perhaps you can block the first blast, Trevor, but can you block the second one? Only a recent block onto the Swino Ferro, but paiN are looking for the engagement as they jump in. The silence does come out. It's going to be the first of all. Joseph trying to dodge around the fight, so Must almost gets on towards him. They chase in from Swino Ferro. They're not giving up on Joseph at all. And eventually they will get their first kill of the game. But now C9 can just rain down hell with that box. Low on energy. Swino Ferro's going to get onto the back line, so Muster can jump in here as well. It's up to Gabe Bizzle. No fountain for him. He's already used it this fight, but the damage coming down onto that Black Feather is ginormous. And now we'll get an ace at the end. Cloud9 clean it up. Not quite an ace, actually. Neurotic was back alive, but they do get 3 kills across the course of the fight.
Yeah, old school with that metal jacket, able to sustain incredibly long in that fight. He doesn't have the breaking point yet, so he wasn't really ramping up his damage, but he was able to dance away from the melee heroes that were chasing him. Obviously the Alpha and this Black Feather. They were able to find that kill onto Petal though, so they didn't go out empty-handed, but I also feel like that might have been a little due to the fact that old school stayed focused onto the gold miner. He didn't actually turn his attention onto the team. They made the decision together that getting that full gold payout was worth giving up 1 kill in exchange for basically an ace.
I'm pretty sure you'll take that.
Oh, absolutely.
You're now 7,000 gold ahead. The South American Brazilian team paiN Gaming at the losing side of a 7-1 scoreline, and at the moment Cloud9 just look like the Cloud9 we expected to see here at Worlds. They look like the Cloud9 that people predicted to be one of the favourites of this tournament, one of the favourites for the win, and it might be a little bit early to say it, but they don't look like they can be stopped right now.
Yeah, definitely not, but very, very early on in the year, you know, we had this expectation that EA was just going to be this dominant force again, and at the actual Mobile Masters event that we had earlier, both TSM and Cloud9 were able to overcome their EA counterparts. So it's going to be very interesting to see just how close the competition is as we get later and later into this. Now, obviously, they're not out of this, but they've got a big fight right now.
Swino Ferro accidentally takes the arcane passage away, and meanwhile, their Black Feather's in the midst of them all. The Rose offensive coming out. Fountain's already been used. Gabe Bizzle's holding on to his though as Cloud9 looks to continue this fight. There it comes, healing up Old School on that backline. Determination Critical's doing a lot of work, but Old School manages to dodge his way away. Joseph's low on energy, so Swino Ferro's back up. Old School's dead, and paiN Gaming somehow winning this one out. They will lose 1 in response. Just Swino Ferro trying to chase onto Joseph, who's regened some of that energy throughout this fight. The Prime Directive onto Gabe Bizzle does more damage to the Alpha than to the Catherine. As Swino Ferro will be chased down a great Imperial Sigil though. Joseph dodging around will eventually get the kill. Neurotic now running for the wins, realizes there's not really much he can do against a Pestle and a Catherine who are chasing him down. Will be able to escape underneath the turret, but Gabe Bizzle's not going to let him get away. Gets the kill. Joseph will get the ace buff and regen. You were very nervous there for a second, Denomine, but Joseph knows what he's doing. As the Cloud9 as once again they get an ace and clean up that kill as well.
Yeah, it was definitely looking really close as Joseph was taking that aggro, but they're able to go ahead and find that kill. But now Sir Muster is here. Can he find Joseph? Doesn't look like an on-point lands. He's going to back off.
It'll be a little bit brave to like Rose offensive aggressively into that when you don't know where Old School is. You know Gavis has got a stun up. The Kraken's up, the turret falls as well because of those ace buff minions. And Cloud9 with an 8,000 gold lead. I think that fight was a lot closer than they expected, but I'm pretty sure they will adjust and adapt coming into the next fight against paiN.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for paiN. Mustard did make that rotation down looking for Joseph, who was incredibly low in health. But because he did so, he sacrificed that turret in the lane. That's a pretty rough trade-off there. And now Cloud9, they're on the chase again. And even knowing the Crystal Sentry's there, they don't look like they really care. You know, they're looking for a fight. They're looking for any opportunity that they can pick up a kill or two, turn their attention onto the Kraken, and then turn their attention onto closing out game number 2.
A 2-0 victory right now would be a great standing for them coming into the rest of their games throughout today. The engagement is going to come out with paiN, but Hampton is a large chance to lose. They jump on towards that backline. The Silence comes out with the wave for Old School, doing a lot of work. The Mortal wounds the kill already. paiN losing man after man, so low, and Joseph's doing a lot of work here. The Termination Protocol is going to come out into the Prime Directive, but he just does not have the damage. And paiN Gaming once again fall. Mirotic's going to get chased down here as well, as C9 looking to clean up this ace. Can't quite get there, but they'll take the turret instead.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and take that turret. In that fight, I actually thought might have been an opportunity for the side of paiN. It was a great block by Jesse Rivera on the Atlas Pulse. So he would have had the ability to ramp up some damage, but some fancy footwork coming out of Old School, some good stuns coming out of paiN, and that safe pocket back away in the fight. And they were able to turn things around quickly, but paiN Gaming are definitely showing signs of life. They definitely are putting themselves in a position where it looks like they can win another fight. We've seen them get a couple kills now off of just great positioning, and that's why I don't want to count this team out, despite the advantage Cloud9 has right now. I mean, it is pretty massive.
Yeah.
You know, we are
11,000 gold is a pretty substantial lead.
If they're able to drop Old School quickly on in a fight again, maybe. Yeah. Maybe they can turn things around. It's going to be incredibly precise. They still have that pedal to worry about, who again is so strong into 2 melee heroes. Has that Aegis complete now, so doesn't have to worry about as much damage coming out of the Alpha. This fight's breaking out.
They are going to jump straight onto Old School in that backline. Mustard trying to do what he can. Here comes the wave through it as well. The Rose Defense dodges away, but paiN are the ones who are falling down low here. The Mortal Wound's doing a lot of work. Already we're going to see just Wienerfer going into that heroic perk. He has fallen C9 on the chase as Mirotic and Sir use their boots to try and get away. Mirotic continues to be hurt by those Munions, but C9 have turned their attention towards the Kraken, and perhaps paiN can look for a steal here, because Sir is still alive, has that breaking point, and stack that one up if he can. Austin jumps forward, has a couple of stacks of his own. Muster off towards the side, trying to get in from the bottom of this fight, but C9 is just not giving an inch. Continually pushing back, pushing forward, making sure that paiN can't get too close to this. Joseph doing a lot of work onto Mirotic down towards the top of the fight, but it's up to Muster to try and jump in. The Kraken's quite healthy. Muster steals it! And paiN Gaming may have a way back into this. Mirotic comes in with a fountain, tries to keep Muster alive. Gabe Visual's there, the stun. The Arcane Passage will get Mirotic away into the Imperial Sigil. He survives, gets the Aegis down as well. Muster will fall, and now it's up to Queen of Vera to keep himself alive. The Kraken has delayed the game, but C9 are still in a strong position.
Yeah, it was a wonderful steal coming out of Muster there. So close. It was obviously such a risky call. You die, the game's over. Yeah. I mean, at that point, the game's over. That time was wasn't very long. But he comes through strong for his team. He secures that Kraken. And while it's not going to, put the win back into his hands, it is going to buy them a little bit more time. And what was unfortunate about that last fight was it was really awkward coming out of both Alpha and Blackfeather. Blackfeather went in long before Alpha was part of the fight. It allowed the side of Cloud9 to just force Blackfeather out very early, and then Alpha pursued the fight, and Blackfeather was already out. He, didn't have the health to come back in. We were waiting on an Imperial Sigil or a Fountain cooldown. So it was just kind of really interesting choices, and I think they need to tighten these things up. Because you can't give Cloud9 that kind of advantage. It
was almost a little bit desperate. They were like, oh, we found someone out of position, let's go, instead of waiting for it. Most of this pursuit is going to get blocked there by Jesuino Vera, realizing if he'd been caught out too far forward, C9 would have been able to chase him down. Jesuino Vera still only on one full CP item here, just the Aftershock, and then the heavy armor and the Aegis as well. It's not the not really what you want to be on at this point in the game with an alpha.
No, but when you're down 12,000 gold.
Yeah, you'll take what you can.
You take
what you can.
anything you can get.
And Muster is the person they've been, feeding farm into. He's at 166 farm, has the Serpent's Mask, the Breaking Point. He's got that Bone Saw finish now as well alongside the Aegis, so if he can stay alive in the fight, if he can get a couple of good Rose offensives off, get those Breaking Point stacks up, maybe, just maybe we can see paiN Gaming come back into this one. They put up a much bigger fight this game than they did last. Old School's actually going to jump across the wall, and Muster's going to get a great flank off here. The wait for it does get the silence down, but Muster's willing to go in with the Rose offensive. Jesuino Vera is a low, great blast tremor. Here comes Determination Protocol on towards the backline. Gabe is still there in the front, though. Determination Protocol doesn't really land, so Muster continues to rain down hell, but he's got 22 seconds before that Rose defensive is back up. Gabe Bizzle with a great stun onto Jesuino Vera, but here comes the Muster on towards that backline already. We see C9 take one, take two, and looking for the third as well. If they get this ace, they should take the game, and Murotic has no way out. It's hell in a cell for him as C9 clean it up. They get the ace, and they can look to close out this game.
Yeah, this is absolutely looking like Cloud9 taking a 2-0 victory over paiN Gaming. Again, this team really shines when they come together in person. They play absolutely out of their minds. Gabe Bizzle, probably one of the best captains worldwide. I'd put him right up there with PQQ. They are just mechanically perfect at almost every point in the game. And again, it's Cloud9 2-0 here, really showing their power early on in this tournament.
Great stuff from Cloud9 to take a 2-0 victory over paiN Gaming. Congratulations, of course, to paiN, who put on a good show. That second game was a lot closer. They adapted, they improvised, they changed a little bit of their strategy to deal with Cloud9. And that's what we want to see from them. Maybe in the next series they can change a little bit more and then start taking these wins off these other international teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is a round-robin style, so even though they've lost here to Cloud9, they are not out. We'll have to see how the rest of this group stage goes. It is a little bit interesting to see South America because they don't have a whole lot of opportunity throughout the regular seasons to get that international competition, and so that's really one of the big struggles I think for them is playing on the live stage, playing against all these other teams from around the world. Whereas we look at Cloud9 again, each of these players does have multiple tournaments that are cross-regional. Some of them having that Worlds experience from last year as well. So I feel like Cloud9 is probably just the more comfortable team in general being here today.
But I think you can see from paiN that they are continuing to develop. They're continuing to learn. They're continuing to use this experience to utilize it. And you compare this performance to their performances last year as Red Canids, and it's a much different team. A lot more challenging against one of the favorites for the tournament. This was never going to be an easy game for them. So you have to give them a lot of props for how well they showed up today.
Absolutely. And I think they did really show a lot of individual points. If we look back through some key points of the game, they definitely had some good, really good decision-making at some points, maybe some questionable decision-making at other, and that's one of the biggest things when you come to this top level of gameplay is your consistency. You can't have a really great play 1 second and then the next second just have a terrible play. It's about building that that team synergy and about keeping consistent. You have to, if you're going to make certain rotations, they have to be consistent. You can't, invade the enemy jungle with 2 players and then give up 2 kills.
Yeah, it makes sense. We talked about utilizing your enemy's mistakes. You can't make mistakes yourself because
Right.
otherwise the enemy's going to capitalize on one as well. I believe we're going to go to a break before we get into the next series of the day. It's going to be Action Jackson and Z Kent casting that one for you, so make sure you stick around, guys.